march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
The experts are clear. Sunlight, purified water, healthy non-GMO food, and having a good attitude is essential to a healthy immune system. But I go further with Super Nascent Iodine X2 from InfoWarsLife.com. 50% stronger than our original and revolutionary Nascent Iodine formula, coming from a deep earth crystal source that no other supplier has. Most other forms of iodine come from seaweed in areas plagued by Fukushima and other contaminants. Not our iodine. It comes from over 200 million-year-old crystal salt deposits and is tested and proven to be completely pure. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today. See the informational videos. Read the information they're compiled. And for a limited time, when you use promo code NOW at checkout, you get an additional 5% off the entire family of InfoWarsLife.com products. Secure your Survival Shield X2 today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
In the near future.
When you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball.
Alert. Security alert. This is Homeland Security. Analysis. InfoWars building independent media operations.
You let the worst people get controlled and tell us that we are the ones responsible.
Prime directive. Discredit Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
A popular conspiracy theory talk show called InfoWars.
Alex Jones is now in an Austin jail.
These people are assaulting us.
Targeting of patriots engaged.
They are never going to stop. They're never going to deviate from their program until we stop them.
Block free iPhone app at Infowars.com. Block free podcast and video feed. Imperative. Destroy Prison Planet TV.
You gotta set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. Intellectually, it's begun and you can feel it.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
It was just about 3 weeks ago I saw the headlines that a bunch of the underground facilities they built in New Mexico to store nuclear waste was collapsing into salt mines and was full of salt water and brine. And then a couple months ago, I saw another report where they've got some stored out in California and Nevada, and those areas are collapsing as well. I mean, it's like a joke. It's like a joke. And I want to invite Jerry Peterman up for a full hour in the near future and on the Nightly News, because we should really cover this more. I've been hammering it, but then I'll go a year without really mentioning it. Then I'll kind of hammer it for a while. But we need to be aware of this, because I've had nuclear physicists on, medical doctors, cancer doctors on, and they go, yeah, this will increase our rates of cancer, and it already has. But I've talked to folks that lived in Europe during Chernobyl, who were in Italy and other areas. For 6 months to a year, they ate produce from the U.S., powdered milk from other areas. They didn't eat the vegetables for 6 months to a year because they knew it was bioaccumulating from Chernobyl all over Europe. Nowadays, they don't warn anybody, even though there were some levels over 200 times higher in some of the spinach and stuff that was tested in 2011, 2012. And as our guest said, the FDA would come out with the EPA and others and say, you know what? We're just going to raise it and say it's safe. Why not? See, they didn't even try to avoid it. Hey, if you got fast-growing cells and you're a child, you don't want to get cancer when you're 35 or 40. Don't, sorry, farmers, you're going to have to, get rid of this produce. No, they didn't want to do that. So the world changed, folks, from Europe not feeding people for 6 months to a year their food to now just, you know what? I mean, even the Soviets had people move out of the Ukraine and areas of Russia nearby Chernobyl. Now it's just stay next to Fukushima, and they got Monbiot on the left and others on the right, like Ann Coulter, come out saying, you ought to go in the reactor. It's good for you. So for the next 6-7 minutes, sir, you've got the floor instead of me asking the questions, because you really are clearinghouse, talking to the scientists, you name it. What is the latest on Fukushima? Where is it going and the other reactors? And is there any sanity? Because now I see all these leftist groups pushing micro-reactors in cities and how homes might have them in the future and cars. I mean, these people seem to be tripling down like the vaccine makers as it shows, you know what? We're going to get everybody more vaccines as it shows it's hurting people. It just seems like an arrogance. So where is all this going?
I hate to say it, but I think we're all, beer's cold and the game is on. Who the blank cares? We're so mesmerized by the media to watch Dancing with the Stars or, the latest Star Wars movie or whatever it is out there. I did a survey in Pflugerville at a nice mall, and I asked 100 people about Fukushima, and of the 100 people, 30 had heard about it, and of those 30, only 5 realized that it was of any consequence whatsoever. And one fellow told me it was really, really great because his friends all liked it, and I was a little taken back. I said, why? And he said, it's that new sushi place out on 183. Okay. I smiled and thanked him. And one lady blessed me out for not being very well educated since it was over with in 2010. So we have too many things that take our mind off of what we really should be doing. And frankly, I remember my father being upset with 5% federal income tax. What would he think now? And I don't think there's anybody left who will go out and demonstrate in the streets for anything because we're pretty well convinced that none of what we do matters anymore. And, children, if you ask children, they all think, grade school, basically junior high or high school, they think they're going to be dead anyway. Things are bad, and we've got people scared to the bone. What can you do when you're frightened? I gave a list, made a list of things that I felt like, what can we do? A few health things, not eat fish and stuff like that. But I said, one of the things about the average person buying a radiation detector, I don't think it's important to do that for one reason. They don't understand what they're looking at. But the main thing is, in the United States, we are fed so much fear that I think over the long run, fear is going to do more biological damage to us as a society than the radiation. And we're going to have, over the next 10 years, an estimate of 100,000 people die of cancer from Fukushima, an elevated rate. But I think fear is going to take its toll as well. Nobody knows how to measure that.
Well, Jerry, I think you've hit the nail on the head here. They've given us learned helplessness and terrified us over things like terrorism, where deer jumping out in front of your car kill more every year than that. So we're scared of all this stuff like great white sharks eating us, a statistic shows, one of the biggest fears out there. But 5 people a year get killed by them. It's basically almost impossible out of 7.5 billion people to be killed by one. And it's like finding a leprechaun. But people are scared of that. Meanwhile, real threats people can't seem to get focused on. No. And they just think you're trying to scare them like everything else because they feel powerless. But the truth is, we go through these times where it seems like nothing's happening, and suddenly there's a mass awakening and things change. The big problem is we have an elite that doesn't want the public to be active, so the elite can do whatever they want, and the elite themselves, I think, are so decadent that they become so megalomaniacal that they think they're invincible. And I think the radiation levels spiking and all the leaks is a symptom of the disease of an elite that have become so inbred and so decadent that a lot of their writings talk about, you know, if we don't merge with machines and live forever, so what? Let's just blow the earth up. I mean, I think it's evil is what we're dealing with here.
I can't question that. Alex, I told you a long time ago that I felt like people who work for TEPCO or various companies like that are serving soulless entities. And it still comes down to the Supreme Court has declared that a corporation is a person and can spend whatever money it wants on boats and everything else. But if that is a person, there is no body, there's no physical entity there. So what we spiritually would say, there is no soul. So that means there's no conscience. And we are out there serving these companies, the people who are in the nuclear field are, and you're serving something that has no conscience. And it's got to be one of the scariest things on the planet. What else can you tell me that lasts 4.2 billion years that produces a waste? There's nothing on the planet.
I think you've hit it. That's it. We have produced people with all the food and all the liberty we have that are so decadent and so disconnected from the ground reality of the real world that they just don't care anymore about anybody but themselves. And I don't lionize the veterans, but people that have been in combat, people that have been through serious things, or aid workers that have been seen starving children, and folks like that, people who've had real suffering or seen it, they at least get wanting to save freedom and wanting to stand up for others and wanting to try to be honorable. Doesn't mean they're perfect. And that's why the system demonizes them, because they know veterans have actually been in the real world. And they want us all to be these insulated TV heads that aren't part of reality. And I think that's it. It's a world of spectators that now look at those of us that just want to build a future. I mean, ants save food for the winter. I'm not even saying we're special. We're just not trying to kill ourselves. And they're so divorced from life that they think we're the bad guys. Because, you know, like you said, you had people chew you out going, that was over in 2010. That problem solved. When you went out, and it didn't even happen in 2010, you dumb woman. You know, it's the arrogance of these people where their eyes glaze over and they smile. And they have these dead shark eyes, and they go, oh, yeah. It's like they revel in it. But I guarantee you start choking them, they're going to beg for the police and squeal and cry. It's like they're so self-centered that they don't have any nerve endings into the universe, is the way I describe them.
I totally agree, Alex. You know, they're so disconnected that they don't realize that they're poisoning. I have a very close friend who said, don't these people realize that they're being affected by this material? He was referring to chemtrails and all the nuclear pollution and that kind of thing, Fukushima and all. Don't they realize that they're also being affected, and their children? And I said, I don't understand. I guess it's like the old whiskey ads that used to be in magazines that always had a skull painted somewhere in the ice cube or something, because those people who drank heavy liquor supposedly had a death wish. And it was a standard thing to put a skull somewhere in the ad. Maybe that's why it's called Skull and Bones. It's a death wish.
That's it. It's a metaphysical rule they've got to tell you. You know, I know you're close to Austin, and last time you were on about a year ago, I invited you here. Please come the next 2 weeks. We'll do a whole hour and a half, 2 hours, and take calls. You can bring any exhibits. Get here beforehand. We can put them up on the big screen for TV viewers and really do a special report. So, Jerry, I hope you can come here in the next few weeks.
I'd be happy to. Thank you for your work.
Well, thank you, sir. We're all just common sense trying to survive here. God bless you. And, you know, he's thanking me, I'm thanking him. It'd be like if I looked out and my neighbor's house was on fire, I'd run over and bang on their door and, you know, see if anybody was home, and I'd call the fire department. I don't deserve a medal for that. I mean, he doesn't deserve a medal, but compared to the general public, I guess we do. We've got to hold up that that's what you're supposed to do. I want to go to your calls. Francis, thank you for holding. And then